Here we go. Right, are we up and running on the stream? Bear with me 1 second. Let's take a look at this. Are we live? Appears to be. Hey, we are live. Right. Well, excuse me. I do keep meaning to edit these beginning sections out of my videos because I do everything live. So yeah, so you end up with a little gap of me just rabbiting on whilst I get the stream up on my phone so I can monitor the chat. So yeah. Anyway, hi, I'm Stewie3D, and today we've got an experiment. So, as if you've been following the channel, recently you may recall that I installed Windows on my mid-2012 MacBook Pro. In fact, I completely violated my MacBook Pro because I stripped away everything that made it a Mac. There's no Mac OS X on it at all. There's no Mac OS, period. I literally binned it all. So this is now an exclusively Windows laptop. And actually, I have to admit, putting Windows on it has really breathed a new lease of life into this machine. You know, it was running like absolute crap with Mac OS. You know, you'd put the lid down and then it would go to sleep, but then it wouldn't just go to sleep, it'd go into a flipping coma. And it just would not wake up. You know, you'd click on an icon in the dock and it'd sit there bouncing all the time. You'd get loads of spinning beach balls of death. iTunes would quite often crash, which would actually then next time you open it, you then had to wait half an hour while it verified your library was still okay, and it just generally worked like crap. Now I've now switched to Windows on here, and actually it's not working too bad at all. Bear with me. You know, we've got a Intel Core i5-32M CPU, which is a dual 2.5 GHz CPU with a turbo boost up to 3.1. It will do 2.9 over both cores or 3.1 over just one. And it has an Intel HD4000 GPU and 4 gigs of RAM. So actually, as a Windows box, it's not bad at all. It works rather well, and I'll tell you what, if you have got an aging Mac like this, I would be highly considering, rather than struggling through Mac OS, unless there's something you specifically need on Mac OS, I would be highly considering sticking Windows on it, because since I've done that, it just works so much better. So now we have Windows on here, it got me thinking, I wonder how well you can game on it, you know, just what kind of games you can play. I mean, I have actually played and completed some games on this laptop. This is what pushed me into getting the Omen. Basically, I played Saints Row 3, Saints Row 4, Assassin's Creed 3, all at 800 by 600 lowest settings, and around about 30 frames a second, but I managed to play them, and I enjoyed them. And actually, I played and completed them on this laptop. And it just got me thinking, let's see what the HD4000 can really do. So I've got 3 games on it. Now, if you notice, it did say the HP Omen is available for streaming. But I have actually downloaded these 3 games onto it. It's not they're not coming from the Omen, because if you look, you'll see that it says stream. Whereas on here, you'll see that it says play. That means it's coming from the local hard drive on the MacBook. Again, play, stream. So you can see the difference. So we're going to start with something quite easy. Ultra Street Fighter 4. And amazingly, earlier I had 60 frames a second out of this at fairly decent spec resolution and stuff. Bear in mind this screen is only 1280 by 800, so 720p on this screen is pretty much near native resolution anyway. So without further ado, here we go. Let's hit Street Fighter 4 and see how well it runs. While streaming, that is. There is a small, I don't know how well you can see it because it's a lot smaller than the shadow play frame second counter I have on the Omen. The Omen's frame rate count is a much bigger number, but there is a frame rate counter in the top left. That's the Steam's one. So let's have a look at this.
Ultra Street Fighter 4.
I'm pretty confident this will actually run quite well. So here we go. It could be quite decent if you're if you've got one of the dedicated GPUs, but not on this with an Intel HD4000. But here we go, we're in. Keep an eye on that frame count, or if you can't really see it, I'll call it out as I'm playing it. So here we go. So we're looking at about 53 frames a second there. It was doing it at 60 earlier, but obviously I am streaming at the same time, so that's taking some out. But 53, 52 frames a second there, I'm calling that. This is playable. So this is Street Fighter 4, but then again, that's not unexpected because this is a game from 2008. So it runs, it looks fairly decent. I would say at least as good as the PS3, maybe even higher. But let's have a look. But yeah, we're hovering at 50 frames a second while streaming. I was over 60 earlier, so yeah. So if you really wanted to, yes, Street Fighter 4. And let's see if I can do a Kuma's Super. Oh bloody hell, she's doing me in. There we go. There we go. So that works. I'll show you a quick... I'm going to call it and say this one is playable, but you have to turn VSync off. If you have VSync on, what happens is it'll be 60 frames a second for all the cutscenes, all the in-between round sections, but then the minute you get into a fight, it lowers it down to 30. And I guess it's because it's not quite 60 at all times, it just goes, right, I'll play it at 30, so it all synchronises up. But that is Street Fighter 4, and I shall, when it saves, I shall show you what we're looking at on terms of graphics. So we're at 720p, VSync off, so we've got actually some pretty decent detail, you know, high details for the characters, high details for the stage, shadows and all that are down, but I would say, you know, if you were willing to drop some of them, you'd look, or you'd get, I reckon you could get a dedicated 60. And in fact, you can get a 60 out of it if you weren't streaming at the same time. So there we go, that's Street Fighter 4. That is playable. But then again, that's not unexpected because this is a game from 2008. So, yeah, I would be highly surprised if it didn't run it. So here we go. Fire up Steam again. Let's do everyone's favourite, Rocket League. Now, I was able to play this earlier. It did look like arse. It looked like someone wiped your arse. Basically, Rocket League looked that bad. But it was playable, but it just looked that bad. It looked like someone had wiped their arse and then wiped the toilet paper in your face. Basically, it was crap. But it was playable, which was the most important thing. So if you really needed to get your Rocket League fix and this was the only system you had in an emergency, then yeah, actually, you could do it. Now, bear with it. It does take a little while to load on first load. And in fact, if you click the Rocket League icon, it actually does say Rocket League DX9 not responding. But eventually, it does go, oh, wait a minute, and then start working. So, here we go. Although, though, the fans are very quiet. Oh. Here we go. Look at how bad that looks. Hey, I told you. I told you it looked like someone had wiped their arse and then wiped it in your face. It looks terrible. But here's what we got. We've got it at 720p, vertical sync off, high performance mode. And I keep setting that to performance, but it always then defaults back to custom. But basically everything is set to performance. There's no bells and whistles on this at all. So, yeah. Oh, I don't have CSGO. I would actually, I should download it purely just to benchmark it, Sidewinder. But, yeah, it doesn't do too badly, actually. As I said, I've played and completed Saints Row 2 and 3 on it. I'm not going to play online, we'll just play an exhibition match, because I don't want to ruin other people's gaming experience here. But yeah, I agree with you. The HD4000 was probably the first decent Intel HD graphics card. All the others are a bit crap. But the fact that I'm actually streaming off it at the same time is what makes it even more impressive. But there you go, Rocket League looks like arse, but actually, if you really wanted to, is actually playable. I mean, it don't look pretty, and to be honest with you, as I said before, if I wasn't streaming, I would be getting a much higher frame rate out of it. But yeah, it's running and it's streaming at the same time. So realistically, if you wanted to get a mobile, a good stream on the go, and to be honest with you, the stream on my phone looks pretty decent. To be honest with you, it's going out all right. So it's got me ugly mug in there. It's got me voice. In fact, it probably looks better on the stream than it does actually in real life. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, Rocket League, you can get your game on an Intel HD4000. You might not want to, but there you go. It actually works. Ooh, and I've got a Steam achievement at the same time. Sweet. So here's another one, and we're going to go on to it. You'll notice that I downloaded Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I thought, there's no way it will run. And it does run sub 30 frames a second. But, oddly enough, it's playable. Or it was earlier. Here's where I go to stream it now, and it won't be. But here we go. Actually, and it just goes to show how well Kojima optimized his game. Because the fact that it even launches on this system, it just blew me away, to be honest with you. But here we go. It's going to run like absolute crap because I'm streaming. But yeah, I was running it earlier and I was hitting it around about the high 20s, and actually it didn't feel terrible to play. That was the surprising take home. Some games, if you drop below 30 frames a second, just become completely unplayable, whereas this actually worked alright. Does take a little while on this initial load here, and it does say it's only at 22 frames a second when all you've got on the screen is a spinning circle, but yeah, I promise you it does pick up slightly. I'll tell you what though, the fans are a lot quieter on the MacBook than they are on the Omen. When again, it hasn't got as much parts inside it to cool as the Omen does. So I've had to really knock these settings right down. And oddly enough, the Intel HD graphics has a weird scaling on it. And in fact, yeah, where I'm streaming, it's taken any spare frames a second I had off it. But if we look, we are running at pretty much the lowest settings you can get. So 1024 by 768, although for some reason the scaler on the Intel HD has made it widescreen anyway. So actually, with disable VSync, might squeeze a couple of extra frames a second out of it. So everything is at its lowest settings there. Oh, screen filtering off. Oh, I didn't realise I could do that. That might make him here have a few extra frames, but there we look. Here we go. So let's get into it. Now the stream is probably taking away the few frames extra it needed to make it actually playable, but we'll see. We'll see. But actually, I did go around and I did get a few headshots on this at sub 30 frames a second, so I was quite impressed. See, it's not terrible. It's at 30. It's not even nowhere near 30 frames a second. But actually, it don't matter because it's actually playable, and that's what I can't get over, how playable it still is at less than 30 frames a second. I mean, it looks like crap. It's playing like crap. Oh yeah, it is still on the loading screen. Oh, what's going on here? I've got the game up on my end. Let me alt tab out of it. Well, we've got a stream going. Ooh, what's going on here? So maybe you can't stream it. Bear with. Bear with. Right, there we go. My desktop's come back up. So here we go. Let's tab back into it. Right, here we go. So here we go. The game is back up. Let's hope this works. Maybe you don't like streaming off the Intel. Well, let's have a look. Oh, here we go. I'm just checking the stream. Is it black screen? Is it any screen? Oh no, we got game up. Here we go. Here we go. Now it's running at less than 30 frames a second, but actually it don't matter. It don't matter at all. It is actually rather decent. It is amazing. It is a testament to how well Kojima makes his games. I mean, I wouldn't want to play it like this, but it is possible that you could play it like this. There's a bit of input lag there, you have to get used to it. Let's see, it is playable, but I think this would be very much pushing it. It looks like crap, it's running like crap. But if you were desperate, you could probably get away with playing it. Yeah, I don't imagine the PS3 plays it much better, to be honest with you. Yeah, you can play it, it's not easy. Let's go around and blow some stuff up, let's make a mess. But yeah, look, playable. Hee. I didn't even kill him! Oh, don't worry. Oh, snake, stop taking ages to launch your rocket launcher. Ah, twice! I missed him again! Here you go, he's dead now. But yeah, look, I'm gonna say it looks a bit crap, but honestly, Kojima has done an amazing job at optimising this. That you can actually just about get away with playing it. You might not want to for very long, but again, if you're in an emergency fix, and this is the only system you had, oh look, we're dipping below 20 at the moment. Snake's magic deodorant. But yeah, I'm going to call that and say it's not pretty, but you can get away with playing and streaming it. You do get slightly more frames a second. But yeah, no, as I said, yeah, I mean, the 630 in the Omen, when I was testing the 630, which is what, 5 years newer? No, this is the third gen, so 4 years newer. It was able to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag in 720p at the lowest settings, and actually run at around about 35-40 frames a second. So it wasn't terrible, and to be honest with you, yeah, I would say, you know, Intel chips in the next few years, it depends on, because obviously the new enthusiast ones don't even have it has the Intel HD blocked off it, so I don't know. It would be interesting to see how well they go. It would be interesting to say maybe get an Ultrabook in a couple of years' time and actually be able to game on it. That would be quite impressive. But yeah, but no, this little demo was just to say, yeah, you can actually game and stream at the same time on an Intel HD4000 built into a mid-2012 MacBook Pro. And here we go. And to prove it, there you go, Intel Core i5-3210M. Well old school. And look, it was even for only 4 gigs of RAM. I wonder if a game like Ground Zeroes needs more RAM as well. You know, only it's 4 gigs of RAM is next to nothing really in this day and age. So the fact that they were even able to run, I mean, Metal Gear Solid was really impressive how well that ran actually for this lower specs. I mean, that was only released, what, 2014, so it's you know, it's a fairly new game. But yeah, Street Fighter I pretty much expected to work with fairly decent settings, because that's a 2008 game. And the Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which was released in 2012, that worked alright on this system anyway. So things like Street Fighter, maybe even the 2011 Mortal Kombat, you could probably get away with playing as well. You could probably do that on here. Metal Gear Solid, you'd be pushing it, but you could probably get away with it. It wouldn't be pretty. But then again, I completed Assassin's Creed 3 at lower settings than that, with frame rate not much better than that. So, you know, it is possible. So, I'm going to say, yeah, depending on what games you play, you could get away with gaming on an HD4000. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be nice, and it's not going to be an optimal experience. But, yeah, the HD4000 is still not a terrible card. So yeah, that's it for this stream. I just wanted to have a mess around and show you some games running. And I'll probably do my usual Snake and Dave the Horse stream tonight off my main machine. My little Omen. God, playing on this makes me miss my Omen so much. So yeah. Anyway, I'll be back later. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.